Hello there. In this video I have some rebel baseless speculation. Hello AOS fans, Robin here, and this is the first in a new series of videos of entirely baseless speculation. The internet pretty much runs on baseless speculation, so I thought I'd try and take a small piece of the Star Wars pie in that respect. And obviously I'm looking at the new AMG game Star Wars Shatterpoint, and I thought I'd try and look at possible new squad packs that were coming out, different groups of Star Wars characters that all fit together nicely. So we know in the main set we've got some clones to go with Ahsoka and Rex. We've got Maul and Ventress to maybe go with some droids or perhaps some Mandalorians. We've got Bo-Katan to go with some different types of Mandalorians. We've got all these different synergies and things that all link up, and we know we've got new sets coming. So we've got the Hello There set, my favourite, which has got Obi-Wan and Clone Commander Cody and a couple of 212th Battalion clones, and we have the other one which has got Count Dooku in it, some of the Magna Guard, and old Jango Fett. So we've got these boxes coming out, and so we can look forward to more boxes coming, and I thought it would be fun to speculate on what might be in them, or even if not what is definitely going to come, what's what we'd like to come. So because those two things are quite different, what they're actually going to produce and what we'd like them to produce, aren't they? They're quite different. So do let me know in the comments below what combinations you would like to see and what you think the justification for them being in the game is, and you know, hopefully maybe I'll make some more videos and comment on those comments. So let me know. So without further ado, let's have a little look at who I think might be coming or who I would like to be coming. I'm going to base it off some of the stuff that I've heard is coming out. If you haven't seen that Crowback interview yet with Will Schick, the studio team lead at AMG, it's well worth a look, and some of this is based on what he has already said. I'm basing it, my first one is not entirely wild speculation. It's got a small amount of base, small amount of rebel base, a Yavin 1.5, something like that. So far, all the sets looking like they're going to have the primary unit, secondary unit, and support units in it. So that will be Obi-Wan, Cody, and the clones. But will they always be like that? I'm kind of thinking maybe they don't. The more we get, the more they can do other things. Now, looking at Grievous, I've seen pictures of Grievous. So we know Grievous is coming because we've seen photos of the miniature, and he's got some super battle droids with him. I've had a little look into the lore. I'm not huge into Star Wars lore. It's one of those things with Star Wars lore. I know about 200% more than 95% of the population, and about a tenth or maybe even 100th of the other 5%. So I sort of know quite a lot, but not loads. I haven't been able to find an obvious kind of secondary unit, if you like, for Grievous. So the super battle droids, I don't know who they would pick. I mean, maybe they'll be a bit like a slightly more intelligent super battle droid, or maybe they'll have multiple super battle droids. I don't know, but he could choose the tactical droid, or he could choose Jango Fett. So maybe they will start to do just smaller packs, because you could also you can imagine, actually, as the game evolves, you could have a whole host of Jedi and Imperial commanders and even bounty hunters that could come out in separate packs that you could then mix and match with other boxes. And similarly, they could do a whole load of troopers, rebel fighters, and other bounty hunters that could fulfill the support unit roles and the secondary unit roles. So you could have a whole load of miniatures with different cards, which again raises another interesting idea of whether they need. Obviously, multiple miniatures could potentially have multiple cards. So they have said that there's going to be some restraint on it, so you can't like use some of the skills from Ahsoka Tano, the Padawan with the Ahsoka Tano more experienced one, that kind of thing, which kind of makes sense. But I don't know whether they might print separate cards for things. So because you can see a situation where they could, although I guess some of their money is in the miniature building rather than just producing cards. But somebody like Grievous, for example, he's going to be a primary unit in most cases, but you could see there is a case to argue that he could be a secondary unit when ranked with Dooku. I mean, that would be a pretty powerful combination, but there are other less powerful combinations. Rex, for example, is almost certainly going to be a secondary unit when paired with Anakin or Ahsoka, but equally, if you paired him with a slightly, like a clone sergeant or something, and some ordinary clones, then he could have a primary unit function. I'm not sure we're going to go that way, but it's an interesting idea, and it adds to that whole kind of mixing and matching of your miniatures and your cards. Similarly, I can see the Bad Batch would be quite interesting to have. You've got the Bad Batch could obviously act as secondary and support units, but equally they could have their own primary in there. With Hunter could be the primary. So you've got different options there, which I think would be interesting for them to utilise. I'm not sure they will. I suspect probably it's going to be one miniature, one card, but we'll have to see as the game evolves. So going back to what Will Schick said and what we know, as I've said, we have Grievous. He's going to come with super battle droids. I'm not sure, as I've said, I'm not sure what his kind of secondary unit would be. He would work with the tactical droid, possibly with the Magna Guard, a Magna Guard model from either the Dooku set or maybe have his own. That would work, or possibly he could just have a couple of bases of clankers, go with those, because that would be less powerful, but he obviously does hang around with all things droidy, or maybe a droidecker even. What Will Schick also said, in a comparatively soon, we're going to see Mace Windu, who I think is the focus of the Shatterpoint novel. I can't quite remember that. Mace Windu has his own clone battalion, the 887th Battalion, and they've got a lovely purple trim on them. Well, I think we've got the Lego set of that somewhere in our house, and I would love to see those and paint those up. And the clone commander with those clone commander pawns, so you could see a set with Windu pawns and some more clones, 187th Battalion clones. He also said, much further down the line, they're working on Cad Bane. So they kind of, I think he implied that they're working on Cad Bane right now, and they have a three-year lead time. So we're looking at a long time before we see Cad Bane. But Cad Bane throws out all sorts of exciting possibilities. First of all, he's a bounty hunter. That's really exciting. But you've got a whole load of different bounty hunters you could pick from. And again, that kind of picks from, maybe you could have he would be a primary unit in most cases, but maybe he would be a secondary unit if he was working for a Sith or something like that. You've got those options. But an out-and-out Cad Bane set, one might imagine that he could have Aura Singh. Now, Aura Singh is interesting because she did work with Jango Fett and she worked with Cad Bane. So, she's a solid secondary unit, but would feed into Jango being a primary unit there. And then who else will we have in support? We might have his Cad Bane's droid, which I think is Todo 360, and then one other kind of bounty hunter to go as a support unit. I think Embo comes up in some of the Clone Wars things, and another interesting possibility would be that of Rako Hardeen. For those who don't know, Rako Hardeen was captured by the Jedi and the clones, I think, and then Obi-Wan impersonates him. So you've got an interesting idea there, particularly for narrative players. Is it actually Anakin or is it Rako Hardeen? I mean, that would be quite fun. I'm not sure we'll see that, but it would be quite interesting. But I'd love to know who you think Cad Bane might go with. So my lore of that is a little bit hazy. I've watched some of the Clone Wars with my kids, but they did watch on ahead without me, and I haven't caught up yet. So I don't know 100% who Cad Bane might go with, who's a likely foil for Cad Bane. And then, totally off the cuff now, a sort of wild speculation. How about Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, and a couple of Gamorrean guards? So going right up into the Book of Boba, and I'm not sure what era that would be, post Battle of Yavin era, so you have Boba, Fennec, and Gamorreans. That would be cool. I'd love to paint up some Gamorreans. If you didn't want to use the Gamorreans, then maybe they could have any of those Tatooine-based kind of miscreants and freedom fighters. So you've got the guys on the bikes. There's any number of kind of shady associates of Boba Fett, or maybe even a couple of Tusken Raiders. So you've got loads of options. It feels like it's quite restrictive having just sort of a primary unit, secondary unit, and the support units. It feels quite restrictive. But actually, once you start thinking about the lore and who's available in Star Wars, you've actually got a lot of options. I think you've probably got more options on the Empire side, because they can very easily have nasty character model, kind of faceless commander, and a couple of cool, several different types of cool trooper, aren't they? Whether they be Death Troopers, Scout Troopers, Shore Troopers, Super Troopers, that kind of thing. So a big light shining down on you. So that's my first kind of baseless speculation, or rebel baseless speculation, as I've called it. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you'd like to see, who you think we'll see, if you've heard it on the grapevine, who we're going to see. Let us know. I mean, by the time this video comes out, Adepticon will be upon us. Maybe there'll have been some more spoilers at that point. Who knows? I hope so, because spoilers are good fun, aren't they? But in any case, I will talk about it probably at 19 to the dozen, as I usually do. And I'm hoping you're enjoying this content. Let me know in the comments below if you do. And we'll see you soon somewhere on the Agents of Sigmar. Bye for now. Bye.